1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hi, magandang gabi. What's wrong with my mic? There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I have an audio? Okay, there you go. Hold on. Uh, if I have an audio, why don't you guys go ahead and like and share? I'm just going to share our Facebook right now. Give me about a minute. Less. Hang on. I hope everybody's feeling well. I was sick for about a week. Yeah, I just need to share this. Give me a second. Hi, everybody. Hang on. This is really weird. There you go. Hi. Yeah, I decided to do this a little later than I normally. Gosh, what's wrong with this? Right. I decided to do this a little later than I normally do because there are some people who are saying na hindi nila ako nakikita because they live on the other side of the world. So, ayan, na-share na. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles and this is Luminous. Oh gosh, I have a double screen. Hang on, let me just fix that. There you go. Para hindi masyado magulo yung screen. Okay, there you go. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Trixie Cruz-Angeles. This is Luminous. I'd like to say hi to everybody who's online tonight. Uy, marami rin tayo, no? Not bad. Not bad for an unannounced live. I just wanted, it's going to be short because I wanted to do a uh, better live tomorrow, far more informative one. So, um, hi kay The Boy, my munchkin, Jose Rafael Laruta, Sir Bobby Fajardo, Alex, Presley Ramirez, Liz Lotto, hi, Estelia Ramos, Arnold Haya, hi, Elmer Bernardito, Christine Chan, Almar Nunez, Pisa Belia Cleptan, Jet Moss, Joanne Buen, Jay Bonga, John Buensalida, Edith Pronuevo. I hope everybody is doing well. Well, as you can see, the biggest news of course has been Typhoon Odette at marami pong mga probinsya ang nasalanta. And as usual, handa ang gobyerno, pre-position na po ang relief goods at saka ang forces ng ating Coast Guard at saka ang armed forces. Naka-pre-position din, notably ang ilang mga kandidato, in particular, of course, the UNI team. I understand that even Senator Lacson had been prepared in advance as well as other candidates. Uh, One candidate in particular na medyo napansin natin kasi humingi ng donasyon at humihingi siya ng donasyon either on the day of the calamity itself or yung in the aftermath. So medyo naging issue ito. At nagiging issue because medyo ano nga naman, problematic para sa atin yung hihingi yung kandidato ng donasyon tapos siya yung mag-aabot. In other words, bigay yun ng ibang tao, siya yung mag-aabot and to what end? For publicity dahil tumatakbo siya bilang presidente. Na matagal na po itong calamity politics. Hindi naman ito bago sa atin. Merong mga merong mga officials natin na it they've been so used to it. Alam nila yung value ng pagbibigay ng tulong during these calamity periods that it is second nature to them. Alam nila nangangailangan ng taong bayan and there is of course benefit to every single politician na nagbibigay at this time. Now, imposible naman na kahit isa sa kanila hindi nila naisip yung benefit niyan. Pero merong iba na masyadong glaring yung kanilang self-interest dito sa pagbibigay. So, of course, pinag-usapan natin dito yung kay Lenny, no? Kasi it's lumabas din na nakakailang bilyon nang ginagastos niya sa kanyang public relations on social media. And in particular, on this week alone, sa week ng kalamidad, higit sa 1 milyon na ang kanilang nagagastos on Facebook ads or social media ads alone. So, in view of that, pag ipinagtabi ninyo yung paghihingi niya ng donasyon, take note, humingi ng donasyon, hindi kanila nang galing, no? Humingi ng donasyon, ng nanawagan ng donasyon, pumunta pa, nagpa-publicize ang pagbisita niya dun sa mga areas na may relief efforts ang ating gobyerno. And this also caused a lot of comment. Parang lumalabas tuloy na, "Uy, ba't ka nakikigulo dito? Actually, nakakasagabal ka. Pupunta ka doon, syempre iintindihin ka ng mga tumutulong, lalong-lalo na kung ang mga tumutulong na yon ay AFP personnel or PNP personnel na syempre kapag nilapitan mo, wala silang choice kundi asikasuhin ka." So, ah mahalaga 'to kapag dinidiscuss natin ang merits ng isang kandidato. Dati kasi, of course, so somewhere in the back of our minds, alam natin nagbe-benefit ang kandidato dito. Pero now it is just a little more blatant para sa atin na, 'di ba, there's some politicians who do it well. Yeah, sanay na sila. And they know that when the calamity strikes, that the government will need assistance. But for the first time, halimbawa, in so many years, meron tayong gobyerno na hindi hindi nagre-rely on donations para sa relief efforts. Meron ng mga sariling what do you call this? Tulong right away, pre-position, pre-pack, ang rescue and relief efforts are organized, nakahanda ang Coast Guard, and front and center talaga ang civil defense and civil defense ng AFP, and of course yung ating Coast Guard at saka ang PNP. And it looks so much more organized now. Hindi yung tuwing tinatamaan tayo ng kalamidad, parang dun pa lang nag-organize. Dun pa lang nagpa-parcel out ng trabaho, dun pa lang nag-identify kung sinong aandar, kailan at paano. So now we have a DSWD na handa na. Ito padating na ang bagyo, nakaposisyon na, na-acquire na yung mga goods. In other words, hindi nagre-rely sa publiko magpadala ng mga ibibigay dun sa mga nasalanta. Ah, However, meron sinasabi yung kabilang side. Nanawagan pa rin ang ating gobyerno, in particular ang AFP natin, yung mga joint forces dito sa iba-ibang mga government units, so of course the Coast Guard, nanawagan din. Kasi although handa ang relief efforts ng gobyerno, you never know how badly a place is going to be struck. And you're never prepared for the numbers. Sometimes, in particular, nag-develop yung typhoon into a superstorm just before it made landfall. Diba? Remember, we were even talking about it sa Karambola na a few hours before landfall, nag-raise na ng alarm because of the warmer waters, tinamaan yung warmer waters, nag-increase yung yung bilis ng winds to up to 260 kilometer per hour winds. So the magnitude of a storm is very rarely predictable. We know kapag lumalakas ang bagyo, we know for instance, yung na-average natin, ma-predict natin to some extent a range of the force of the winds, but never how many people are going to be affected and so on. In this case, we are also very lucky because of the advanced warning. There are less people na napapahamak who are injured or killed, although wala pa naman lumalabas na actual body count or numbers because it's really early to tell. Pero the devastation and infrastructure medyo laganap. There are people who are going to be homeless for a while, so kailangan asikasuhin yan. Ibig sabihin, yung relief na naihanda, we will need a little more. And because of government procurement services and so on, well, we know that the government will come up with it, but the public has room to help. So, nanawagan na rin ang Coast Guard and so on para sa mga donasyon. Take note, there is a difference kapag ang gobyerno ang nanawagan at ang isang kandidato ang nanawagan. Bakit? Because, well, as we know, the president has already decided to be neutral, and here is this, they're doing what they have to do. This is the ordinary course of business. Ang isang kandidato na hindi naman involved sa relief or rescue efforts, nananawagan ng donasyon para well, I hate to say this, para umepal. So there's a big difference. Ngayon, may magsasabi na naman, biased kayo, hindi nyo nakikita yung tulong ni Madam and so on. Oh well, sige, sabihin na natin that we don't really like her. Ako, personally, I enumerated the reasons I don't want her to be the next president of the Republic. Pero, in addition to that, really, honestly, para kang vulture. You're making hay out of the misery of other people. And you're so blatant about it. Covered ka ng media, nananawagan ka. Ano yung value ng panawagan mo ng donasyon? To let people know, not just to acquire donations, there's that also. Yung mga donasyon na ikaw mismo ang mag-aabot or gusto mong iabot dun sa mga biktima. In other words, wala kang gastos dun, kinuha mo sa ibang tao, ikaw ang mag-aabot, pero sa iyo yung publicity, sa iyo yung credit. That's number one. Number two, you're making political pogi points out of typhoon victims. Ang tawag doon vulture. Nagbe-benefit ka of the misery of other people. Which I think, now that it is so blatant, now that it is, kumbaga, kitang-kita, konting, konting hinay naman, madam. Hindi kasi ganun kaganda tignan. Ito, sabi ni Gemini Belardo, oops, wala yung aking. Sabi ni Gemini Belardo, let's not forget na nung parating ang bagyo sa Bicol dati, si Lenny lumipad pa Amerika at nanood ng NBA. Iniwan mga kababayan niya. O there you go. Sabi ni Romy, Lala Classic, malaki ang pondo ng OVP at huwag sasabihin na wala. Isa pa yun. And dito hindi ko rin maintindihan ng Kongreso at Senado, ang laki talaga ng binigay nila sa ating sa Office of the Vice President. And to do what? To duplicate efforts. Kasi sa totoo lang, itong panawagan ng relief goods and all that, hindi ba mas maganda kung gobyerno na mismo, yung mga taong mag-aabot doon, sila yung nanawagan so you can deliver it directly. Ang ginagawa niya is, bigay niya sa akin, ako ang magdi-deliver, ako yung mag-aabot. And for what? Political pacutsy. It really doesn't look good. Maganda pa yung ibang mga kandidato, and I'm not just talking about BBM or Sara, but there are other candidates naman who chose not to publicize it. I'm not talking about just the presidential candidates. I'm sure may mga kandidato dyan sa Senado and for other office na nagbibigay at hindi natin naririnig, hindi natin nakikita because hindi nga ito panahon para mag-score ng pogi points politically. Sabi ni Chris, I think di mo iwasan yan, politics in calamity. Tulad na lang ni BBM, kapag di pa siya nagparamdam dyan, for sure marami na naman criticize siya. So, si BBM standard kasi, this is the one thing, the Dutertes and apparently the Marcoses, and let's not forget, sina Ping Lacson, meron din silang sarili nilang efforts. And it's not because I'm going to vote for Ping or anything like that, but let's call a spade a spade. Itong mga to, they were ready, they were positioned, and without fanfare, nagbigay sila. Wala kang maririnig na the BBM SAR team has already pre-positioned their goods to give away to the victims of the chuchu. Walang ganon. At saka, wala silang Twitter na, uy, may baha sa ganito. Uy, umikot ako at nakita ko ganito. Walang kuryente sa ganyan and so on. Para siyang nagre-report, para siyang vlogger o kaya reporter. Pero trabaho ba niya yon? Is it also not possible na nakakagulo siya so not just sa government communications, but also dun sa mga sa feedback mechanism ng ating gobyerno? Am I nitpicking? Maybe, pero nakakainis kasi. Sabi ni Ma'am Rosa, ganyan naman talaga ang dapat, kaya nga maging handa at laging handa. Sa dami na nangyari sa nakalimidad sa akin, hindi ka pa nakahanda, wala ka nang natutunan. You're talking about the preparedness of government. That's true. Dapat yan talaga ang kalakaran. Nakakaistorbo siya, sabi ni Ma'am Charo, on the ground. Bakit kasi bumaba siya on the ground ngayon, nakaistorbo tuloy siya sa baba na nasa on the ground. I saw what you did there. Sabi ni Elmer, pag nakakabasa ako, nakakarinig ng mga support message para kay Lenny tungkol sa bagyo, ito lang reply ko. That's true. Meron nga meron nga umangal sa akin. Bakit? Itong mga virtues pa na hinahanap mo kay VP Lenny, meron ka niyan? Sino ka para mag-criticize sa kanya? Ganon. Ano daw na itulong ko? Well, number one, hindi ko kailangan i-enumerate ang naitulong ko, but I have served not just government since 1998 and onwards. At kung kailangan kong i-enumerate, hindi nyo pala ako kilala. All of my sins and all of my accomplishments are Googleable. Ito, sabi ni Brian, besides, okay, sorry, hindi pa pala ako tapos. Besides, kahit ano pang sabihin ninyo tungkol sa pagkatao ko, kahit sabihin nyo masama akong tao, wala akong achievements, hindi ako nakakatulong, and so on. Kahit ano pang kasamaan ang sabihin nyo sa akin, hindi pa rin gagaling si VP Lenny at hindi pa rin niya maa-acquire yung characteristics na hinahanap natin bilang isang presidente. And by the way, hindi po ako tumatakbo. Kaya kahit anong batikos ninyo sa akin, I don't really care. But it's not going to make your candidate look any better. Ito, sabi ni D, Lenny puro optics pero nagpa-backfire sa kanya mga ginagawa niya. Di mo kasi maramdaman yung genuine intentions niya. OVP fake before, fake until now. Totoo yun. Parang no matter what she does, and sometimes iniisip ko, posibleng sincere naman siya. Pero, you don't really get the sense that she is. Parang hindi natin nararamdaman na merong sincerity. Like I said, hindi observable. Kanyang sincerity. Parang ang feeling ko, everything that comes out of her mouth was previously rehearsed and she's still doing it badly. But it was rehearsed. In other words, everything that she's doing is supposed to set her off, make her look good, make her look good as a candidate. But that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for somebody with a sincere desire to help. And we don't see that. Lahat ng actions nakikita natin are calculated and that's really cold. That really flies against it. Parang kontrang-kontra yan dun sa sinasabi nilang sincere naman siya. Sabi ni Eri, ang cute nga ng tandem nila Bibi at Inday Sara, unity wala ka-plastikan, kita mo naman. Sabi ni Dina PC Jones, di po ba may pondo si VP Lenny kung bakit di niya gamitin po yun para maitulong sa kalimidad ngayon? Sabi ni President Digong, ubus na yung Calamity Fund so dapat yung kay Lenny ang ilabas niya. I agree. Alam nyo, almost 900 million yung budget ng OVP for 2021. I do not understand then kung bakit binigay ng Kongreso yan. Nevertheless, andyan na yan. Pero may maririnig ka ba na nanggaling sa OVP yung mga pinamimigay niya? Hindi. Yung gagaling yan sa angat-angat chuchu or what kaya natin ng mga NGOs, sila yung nagre-receive at sila nilang ang taga-abot. Sa madaling sabi, there's a level of dishonesty here na parang you make it look like as if nanggaling sa iyo yung mga donasyon when actually hindi ikaw ang ikaw lang ang nag-aabot. Hindi ikaw yung tumanggap. Hindi ikaw yung merong administrative control over it. Ikaw lang talaga yung nagbigay. And so how can you find any sincerity in that? Hindi ba turo sa atin kapag tutulong tayo gawin ito ng tahimik? Oo, nasa Biblia. Lenny does the complete opposite. Makes it a point she's the source of the noise. The same noise they can only make sa Twitter. True. Si Lenny kasi kilala na ng mga tao. Kahit anong gawin niya, we don't see it as a genuine act anymore. And I guess it's too late. And to be honest, malalaman naman ng tao ang kara ng tao. Yan. Sabi ni Leo, sira na utak na yan, hayaan nyo na lang yan, hirap ang puppet, di makagalaw ng sarili. Sabi ni Elmer Bernardino, watching and listening to you is already a help itself for us. He sways us away from ignorance of the law and manipulation of the others. So thank you very much for that. Sabi ni Brian, Attorney Trixie is not a candidate though. So issue is about Lenny, not about third. Nasaktan ka lang campaign and it's not her fault na hindi talaga deserving na maging presidente si Lenny. I assume, yeah. Oops, nabasa ko na yan. Leadership is not her strong suit, clearly. Leadership should be proactive and with foresight. She can help more by getting out of the way, really. As it is, this is the workings of an opportunist. Very well said, Madam. Eto sabi ni Rizal, since naging VP siya, lagi naman siya nagpupunta sa lugar na binabagyo pero wala siyang natutunan sa bawat pinupuntahan niya kasi late pa rin lagi action niya. Photo ops lang talaga, di sincere o di galing sa puso ginagawa. Sabi ni Flicker Seeker, kasi si Lenny kasi kilala na ng mga tao. Kahit anong gawin niya, we don't see that. Nabasa ko na pala. Sorry. Ito, uy, maraming salamat kay Ma'am Mia. Hi, Ma'am Mia. Stay healthy and safe always. Yes, ma'am, kayo din po. Ito, sabi ni Ian, nalungkot pa din ang pag-atras ni PRD sa Senate run. Pero it's okay if he wants to retire. Since start yun naman sinabi niya. Actually, I'm torn din between for him to run or to go back to private life. Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, kahit ako. Pero kung ano yung gusto niya, hindi ko talaga kakayanin yung hindian siya pagdating sa personal niyang choices on whether to run or not to run. Alam niyo, hindi niyo ba kayo nagtataka? Ito, have you watched the BBM Sarah Unity vlog? What's your reaction? Not yet. I haven't. I will though. Usually kasi, ang naka-follow ako sa kanila separately. Matagal na akong followers sa vlog ni BBM and recently dun sa Facebook ni Inday Sara. So I haven't seen the Unity vlog yet. Sabi ni Yuri Shu, may natutunan na naman ako sa inyo. Calamity politics benefiting on the misery of other people. Well, totoo yan, di ba? Yung parang tinitignan mo yung calamity bilang isang pagkakataon na i-further yung political career mo. Talaga? Diba naghihirap yung mga tao, they have gone through hell. Pagkatapos andun ka para magpa-picture, ang sakit naman isipin nun, di ba? Sabi ni Alfonso magpayo kay BBM, wag matulog sa oras ng bilangan, baka mabagong resulta ng bilangan. Sabi ni Cho Mariching, sobrang salamat talaga kay PRRD. Baka kung hindi siya ang Pangulo ngayon, baka kalahati na lang ng populasyon ngayon Pilipinas. Salamat PRRD, mamimiss kita, lalo pang pinabaltagol mo si Lenny at si Gordon. Alam mo, totoo yan. Mamimiss ko yung pambansang troll. Yung troll master of the universe. Ito, sabi ni Vicky Vasco, this is interesting. Lenny's PR team has tried all sorts of stunts to prop her up. The only thing they're achieving is to pull her down further. Perhaps it would benefit her more to remain silent until the start of the campaign period. In the meantime, we think their strategies. If this still won't work, then she should realize that her case is hopeless. Alam niyo yung pinanghahawakan nila kasi, Seb, is this. Nung tumakbo siya noong 2016, merong sinasabi siya na she went from 1% to vice president. Yung 1% yung awareness about who she was as a candidate. pero ipanalo pa rin ng vice president. Yun yung iniisip na that she can do na. No matter how badly she's lagging in the surveys, ang tingin niya, maila-last 2 minutes pa rin niya yan at kaya pa rin niyang ipanalo. I can't blame her for thinking that, but there's a difference between thinking something because you've calculated the odds and being delusional. Ito sabi ni JR, sa Bisaya, ngilngig kaayo nauong mileni. Yung mukha niya nagiging epitome of pretension, walang bahid ng totoong malasakit. True. True. Kaya nga minsan, nakakagalit na. Yung mga tipong yan ba ang bibigay niyo sa amin kayong mga kakamping/dilawan. Yan ba yung binibigay niya? Yan ang hinahain ninyo sa taong bayan? Yan ang level na sa tingin ninyo worthy for the people? Yan na lang ba? Hanggang ganyan na lang ba kami? Puppet? Somebody who can, sige, let's say na nagkamali siya sa math niya once. Nagkakamali siya parati. Not just in math, in her answers, her inability to articulate a coherent thought. Parang alam mo, you get the feeling every time nagsasalita siya na meron siyang minemorize. Pero hindi niya memorize. Keywords lang yung pinanghahawakan niya. So she needs time to think. Kaya siya nag-uulit-ulit. This is a trick kasi in public speaking. That sometimes you need to buy some time to think. So, in order to do that, you use certain speech tricks. In speech tricks na yun, sometimes is to repeat something. So, kunwari, somebody asks you a question. Oh, what do you think of the oil prices? Ulitin mo yan. What do I think of the oil prices? So, in the time that you're articulating that, you're not thinking of the question itself, but you're already thinking of your answer. That's what's called buying time. But with Lenny, she's always doing that. Na to the point that it looks like it has become either a speech lag or a crutch or hirap talaga siya mag-isip. Sabi ni Dee, thank you for doing live every now and then. Your ideas are refreshing and informative. Very gentle ang pag-state pero malakas ang dating ha. Tama si PRRD. Lady will never be a good president if she cannot handle calamities proactively. Ganyan ang puppet, reactive parate. I agree with the reactive. Kumbaga, ay padating ang bagyo. Tinamaan na ng bagyo, doon pa lang, tutulong kami. How can we help? Yung mga how can we help na yan, yun yung mga tinatanong pagka hindi obvious yung sagot. Hello, nasa lanta sila, tinamaan sila ng bagyo. Ano sa tingin ninyo ang kailangan, madam? Tinatanong pa ba yan? Get off your rear end and start helping. And if you cannot help, get out of the way. Diba? Sa gabal ka, matisod pa yung mga tao sa iyo. Wala kang ginagawa dyan. Eto, sabi ni July, klaro na yan. Si BBM Sara, sana sa debate, lampaso yung mga kalaban. Solid BBM Sara. Yes. But you know why, na hindi ko masyadong inuulit yung term BBM Sara every day and every time. Because elections are what? How many months off? And ayokong manawa yung mga tao. And ayokong makampante din yung mga tao. We have to feel, or as voters, for our candidate, kailangan ramdam natin yung enthusiasm up to the day of the elections, or at least on the day of elections. So, mahirap pa yung, wala nang build-up eh. Andun na sa, most people who are going to vote for the BBM Sara team, they're already convinced. Pero hindi rin natin gustong manawa na to the point na, ayoko na, BBM Sara naman talaga, huwag na natin talk about something else. Parang ganon. Ang elections, para siyang parang basketball game yan eh. So, if there is no build-up anymore, there's no tension, and there's no, at nakakampante tayong lahat, that's when so many things happen eh. So, let's not overdo it. Pagka may caravan, BBM Sara, that's pero yung isisingit natin into every conversation, mananawa yung mga tao sa atin. And, sometimes there's also a point of what we call the ick factor, where things start to reverse after that. So let's also be very careful that we don't oversell our candidates. This is the time that we criticize the other candidates in comparison to ours without actually mentioning ours, or look at them and see how they failed. Sabi ni Ruben, di kaya bibili din niya votes niya sa Smart Magic na lingat lang ang konti, umarangkada na votes niya. Well, that is the theory, di ba? Yun nga yung case theory ni BBM. At meron siyang pinoprovide sana na ebidensya na hindi naman ininda ng Presidential Electoral Tribunal. Kung kaya't inakyat nila to the Supreme Court. At doon, medyo naghihintay pa. Sabi ni Nini Sharon, paulit-ulit na ginagawang maling diskarte kasi nungalingan, maski siya mismo ay naniniwala siya doon, tumaas ang kanyang delusions. Totoo yan. Sabi ni Agbayani Ustin, sino kaya pwede ang maging Senate President kung umatras si PRRD? Lungkot pa rin ako, para akong nakipag-break sa girlfriend. Alam ko yung feeling na yan, ha? Umiyak ako literal. Pero siguro ganun talaga pag love mo. You have to set yung pinax. Talaga naman. But yes, I understand how you feel. Ah, sobrang hinayang din yung ramdam ko na nung nag-ano siya, nung umatras siya. Parang, at saka and I felt parang may konting tampo behind that. I have no evidence of that. It's just the feeling that I got na parang may konting tampo siya. And parang durog na durog yung puso ko. Parang feeling ko, sa dami ng ginawa mo para sa amin, sana bigyan mo pa ako ng isang pagkakataon na magsabi na mahal ka namin by voting for you into the Senate. But no, sige na nga. Baka yung I love you natin, mapapakita na lang natin by letting him go. Aray. Ang sakit, no? Sabi ni Danny Boy, same nang nalimutan niya kung anong batas ang pinasa niya sa Congress. Ano, actually, nakalimutan niya yung first na inano niya. And the problem with her also is this, na narinig niya yung parang kini-quiz siya sa DCRH na nakakailang tanong na, di ko na kasi alam eh. Ay, hindi na ako familiar eh. Ganon. Tapos, pati yung sa batas, naku, nakalimutan ko na kung ano yun. Oh, I understand na maybe that was a long time ago. Ano ba yan? Kailan ba yon? 2013? Siguro medyo nga matagal na yon, pero parang ang feeling ko, madam, hindi naman siguro ganun katagal. Pero napaghahalataan na hindi siya yung sarili mismong nag-asikaso ng batas. In other words, somebody thought it up, somebody, helped her along. Pati si tiyak niyan yung mga lobbying, yung mga pakiusap dun sa mga kongresista, yung pag-argue niyan and all that, yung mga merits ng kanyang bill, parang hindi siya rin ang gumawa. Kasi kung siya yung gumawa, makakalimutan mo ba yun? Eto, sabi ni Edwin, why kaya bilib na bilib sa Calamity at not sa politics nila? Kasi nag-work dati eh. Kahit nililindang nila yung taong bayan, wala yun sa kanila. But it worked. Just turned on the phone. What can you say about Dillon and Tambunting trying to sneak in a law for the franchise? What can I say? Kami nga po yung nagbulgar niyan, di ba? Kami yung nag-raise ng alarm about that. So yes, we're against it. Because syempre, only franchise, di ba? Parang lumalabas na if you, oops, sandala. Belial, I can see you. Belly, stop that. Bell, I can see you. Seriously. Sorry. It's Ahmed's cat kasi hinaharas niya yung cat ko. Oo, nag-i-English din yung cats. Okay. So ang hindi siya ano it's so doubly sneaky ha kasi it doesn't amend the law on franchises which is in the constitution so you can't really amend it, so they put it in the administrative code at dun sa administrative code parang pinalalabas nila as a matter lang of administration, kung timely yung pag-file mo ng renewal of franchise, in other words humingi ka sa kongreso bago nag-expire yung franchise mo, only yun. Hindi yun, ano, kumbaga considered extended yung franchise nyo. Belial! Belial. Sorry. So, parang considered na automatically extended yung franchise nyo. At ano yung, alam nyo kung ano yung sneakier part of that? It says in both bills, sa House at saka sa Kongreso, nakalagay doon na failure to take up is not considered a denial. So, matatapos lang yung extension na yun pagka dinenay ng Kongreso yung franchise nila. So pagka hindi nila tinake up, extended yung franchise. So Congress can ignore them for walang nakalagay doon how many number of years yung pwede nilang i-ignore yung application. So it can be decades before they take it up. Tuloy-tuloy ang ligaya sa kanila. So yeah, that's why we raised the alarm because it would be unconstitutional. Belial! Guys, could you give me like a second or two? I have to get belly. Belial. Belial. Come here. Belly. Go. Jack, get down. Kasi. All right, Belly, stay here. Stay here. All right. Hi, sorry. This time it wasn't the dogs, it was the cats. Okay. Let's review. Nandun si Jack malayo. Tapos si Belial, ini-ignore na niya si Jack. Jack is black, and the black cat is all black, and Belial is white. He's all white with blue eyes. Ito, sabi ni Peter, parang thesis lang yan sa college. Kahit matanda ka na, matatandaan mo pa rin title ng thesis mo if ikaw mismo gumawa. Kasi pinaghirapan mo yung bawat pahina at word, ay totoo yan. Not unless pinagawa mo lang or nagpayat ka lang. So, kagrupo mo, nga eh. So, ito, sabi ni Aris, kahit umatras na si PRRD, at least andyan pa si Kong Marcoleta para maging Senate President o di kaya si Xbox Harry Roque. Alright. May may mga controversies din kasi about Spox Harry. But okay. Ayoko kasi dahil Team BBM Sara yan. So, willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Thank you kay Monica70 for your super sticker. Maraming salamat ha. Ito sabi ni Joe Hara, naglasing kami nung umatras si PRRD. Alam ko na sobrang alam ko yung feeling. Tsaka parang parang yung feeling ko, pag tumakbo kasi siya sa Senate, we don't have to let him go yet. Yung mga tipong, just, can you stay with us just a little longer? Kasi hindi ko pa talaga kaya. So, tapos nung bumatas siya, parang ang feeling ko, God, na paaga, yung kailangan kong learn to live without him. Ganon. Ito, sabi ni, I don't know your name. Magaling ka na ba? Say hello to your friends in Carambola plus Mr. Gadon. Ang saya talaga sa Carambola. May batuhang totoong marites. Ha, I'm Jocelyn from Japan. Ayun, God bless. Hi, Ma'am Jocelyn. I feel better and I think I'll be in Carambola na by Monday. Barring any, weakness. Ito, sabi ni Saoirse. Sounds like Saoirse. Nag-ignore nila ang mga mislead ng mga tao. So for them, wala lang yan. Thank you sa mga nagre-raise ng awareness for Philippines, Saoirse. Sabi ni Ron Gatsen, Grabe si Trilon, kahit palutulog nakakagawa ng sneaky secret na batas, kaya dapat palitan na lahat ng lumang senador, ginawang career na nilang senador. That's true. No, hindi naman secret yung batas. Actually, ni-raise na ng karambola din nung first na pinopose ni Senator Dillon yung kanyang bill. Pero at the time, medyo kasagsagan ng ABS-CBN issue yon. So, kitang-kita. Akala namin, oy, napaghalataan. So, nung nire-report na, marami na rin nag-pick up at the time, akala ko, ay, isi-shelve na yan. Especially since wala ng ABS-CBN at dininay na yung kanilang prangkisa. Little did we know na on time pala, nag-apply ang Angkara ng kanilang franchise. Hindi ko alam kung dininay na or also not taken up. So, ang lumalabas, yung Angkara, timely filed yung kanilang request for another franchise prior to dun sa pag-expire ng kanilang franchise in 2020. So, that's how it's benefiting ABS-CBN. Ma'am Karen says, I observed the Dillon and Madam's obsolete monkey tricks. If it worked before, they keep doing it kahit alam na ng mga botante, mga milagro nila like the water concession, the kontrata of Dillon, and credit grabbing ni Madam, pahingi-hingi ng donasyon na siya mag-aabot among the few. Nang nag-withdraw si PRRD, parang gusto kong magpa-repeat in preparation of a notigong in public office. Ako, ma'am, madagal pa ata magsisingin na magiging private citizen na siya. Ito, sabi ni Danny Boy Garcia, how about yung frequency ng ABS-CBN? Nakuha na po ba o binalik na sa NBC? Matagal na pong, ganito yan. The moment they're off the air, the frequency kasi doesn't belong to anybody except the government. Ay, yun yung nakalagay. The frequencies or airwaves are owned by the state. So, nung hindi na pwede, wala nang permit ang ABS-CBN to use that frequency. Matagal na. Now, normally, ipapabid out yan sa iba na stasyon na gustong gumamit. Pero, nung maaga pa lang, nagtanong kami sa NBC, something like 6 months to a year after na wala na ng prangkisa ang ABS-CBN, nagtawag kami sa NBC, kami mga taga-tambayan, kami na JP, ganyan, tawag kami sa NTC at ang sabi ng NTC, wala pa daw po kasing time na asikasuhin yung pag-bid out ng frequency kasi inaatupag nila yung shift to digital TV. Ngayon, hanggang ngayon, mukhang yun pa rin ang inaatupag nila dahil hindi pa nila pinapabid out yung frequency na yun. Ay, nako. Sabi ni Ian, same feeling sa pag-atras ni PRRD. Because may hangover pa tayo, we're not yet ready to let go of the best thing that happened in PH under the decade. So, yan. Diba, dapat talaga nag-live inuman session to para makapag-process ng feelings and learn to let go. Diyos ko po, mahabagin. How unfair is this world, diba? So, sabi ni Max Tam, I think nakakataas din ang moral ng mga government workers that PRRD is empowering them. Before the disaster hits, PRRD has already mobilized them. Binibigyan niya ng pagkakataon ng mga rescue and relief workers to do their jobs properly. Kudos to PRRD for the inspiration. Yan, I agree with that. Hindi kailangan ng I remember thinking this a long time ago pa kasi hindi ako fan ni GMA. Pero si GMA dati, pumupunta talaga yan sa mga nasalanta. And she would stand there looking worried. Sabi ko, ito ba ang standard pose ng presidente? Punta ka sa calamity areas. To do what? Sabi, supposedly to make the people feel that you're present, that you're aware of their conditions. So you stand there, you look worried with the PSG doing all this stuff, securing your person and all that, and getting in the way of rescue workers. So matagal ko nang napansin yan, pero popular si GMA, so I never really said that out loud. Ay nako, pagdating nung kay Pinoy, It sunk to even deeper levels. Kasi anong nangyari? Ang post Yolanda, naaalala niyo ba? Meron pa siyang pakaravan puno na nakasakay siya sa parang sa truck na, di ba? Ito to what? To survey the devastation while people were going hungry? Oh, please. He didn't have to be there. Sana nagpadala siya ng pagkain. Mas nakakatulong pa. Sabi ni Joanne Bustillo, hurt ako at naghihinayang ng umatras si PRRD. Siya sana ang mga puputol ng sungay ng mga supil sa Senado. Hi, true. But at the same time, happy kasi makakarest na siya dito sa amin sa Davao City. Ingit naman ako, parang sinoli namin prematurely si PRRD. Balik Davao na siya uli si Tatay Digong kasi miss na namin siya dito. Bittersweet goodbye. O at least kayo makakapag-hello na kayo ulit. Sa wala na. Hi, watching from Giza KSA. It seems NTC reserved the frequency for ABS-CBN in the next administration. Well, I don't think so. That's why we have to vote for the right people. Diba? And we also have to make ourselves heard. So, yan, since we're on the topic, pag-usapan na rin natin yan. Kailangan, hindi dapat tayo umasa. For instance, we know that the president will do the right thing. In all likelihood, i-veto niya yan. Hindi pa naman daw dumadaan sa Kongreso, hindi pa napapag-usapan. So, I'm sure ready na si Kong Marcoleta et al., including si Kong Mike Defensor, to defend the denial of ABS-CBN and to make sure that this bill, sneaking in Amcara as a substitute for ABS-CBN, will be addressed by these congressmen. So, sana, dun muna talaga dapat tayo umaasa. Pero in order to move politicians, ano yung fuel to do that? It's public opinion. So we have to move them by letting them know how we feel about it. Mahalaga po yan. Hindi po tayo pwedeng kampante at sabihin, hindi dito naman ng presidente yan. No, that's not how a democracy works. Kaya nga kailangan naririnig tayo. And that's why the freedom of speech is so important because ito po ang ginagamit natin to check government and to make sure that they abide by the popular will. Tuloy-tuloy. Uy, salamat kay Leslie Tugadi kasi pinaalala niya na don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Salamat po. Nap, thank you, ma'am. Kasi minsan nakakalimutan ko talaga sabihin yan. Nasa senatorial list ko pa naman din si PRRD. Oh, ako din, number 1. Tapos number 2 si Attorney Larry. Kaso ayaw niya ata yung all talk. Gusto niya action pack. But it would be so much fun to watch the Senate. Just like how I enjoyed Miriam Santiago. I agree. Kasi I think na isa pa to. Na while we like Senator Go and Senator Bato, yung nung pinatakbo sila ng presidente, naiintindihan ko na kasi kailangan talaga may magsalita para sa presidente dun sa Senado. May sumasalag dun sa mga excesses ng mga tapo na nandun sa Senado. Pero ano nangyari? Dahil bagito pareho, hindi pa nila naiintindihan kung yung ano masyado yung rules at yung level ng debate na nangyayari dun sa floor. So makikita natin yung mga instances na for instance, with Senator Bato, okay lang because he knows how to simplify things, no? Pero in general, kulang eh. Kulang yung performance. Si Senator Go, ngayon nire-replay nila ng nire-replay yung debate nila with Senator Dillon na ang dali-dali niyang he would fall into trick question traps. So, they need more seasoning. And so, I'm a little worried na kaya ganito ka-excessive din yung ating Senado, nangyayari yung mga formally only hearings at saka yung mga ganito sneaking in ABS-CBN and so on because yung mga tao ni Presidente who were put there precisely to prevent these things from happening have not been up to scratch. We love them, there's no question about it. We believe in their loyalty to the country and to the President. Sige. But they have not done the job that was required of them. 'Di ba? Kulang eh, kulang talaga. So, mahalaga itong susunod na eleksyon, not just the presidency, but the Senate. Okay? Sino yung mga nangunguna sa surveys? My gosh. Trapos all the way. Sino lang ang makakalusot sa cabinet ng presidente? Mark Villar. Si Attorney Larry, umaakyat na. I'm pretty sure he will hit the top 12 very soon. Pero, di ba, can you imagine, ang layo pa ng tinahak ni Attorney Larry to get within striking distance, samantalang nagla-landing right into the top 12, yung mga trapo. Let's get rid of them. Hindi sila mahalaga sa atin. We need better people and we need more of them. Kahit baguhan lahat yan, at least nandyan yung mga tao who understand the value of public opinion. Yung mga matagal na kasing senador, alam nila at some point na pwede nila tayong i-ignore until election year. Ito, sabi ni Crisanto at yan sa Cuenca, yung si Tolentino wala maaasahan. Sadly. Sabi ni Ma'am Joanne Stili, huwag ka na mainggit. Andyan si Mayor Sara, pahihiram naman namin po. Uy, matagal-tagal namin hihiramin si Ibray, ha? So, 6 years as vice, malay nyo, another 6 years for president. So, pasensya na, matagal bago bumalik yan. Hindi pa, may mga dalawang levels pa yan. Si Ma'am Jeng says, hindi talaga pwede pagkatiwalaan mga kakamping. Lahat ng paraan gagawin para makalusot. Ang pababalik ng ABS-CBN, parang yan lang ang plano nila sa buhay. Totoo, totoo. At sabi ni Tito Dong, sa totoo lang, tatakot na yung si Lenny dahil baka pa-imbestigahan ni BBM ang 2016 elections pag ito na ang presidente. Yes, but you know what? I don't really think that BBM will do that. Presidente na siya eh. And ito yung nakikita akong message sa kanya. It's more like, can we just get along? Unity, unify the country. And since we're on the topic of unifying the country, alam niyo po ba yung yung kasabihan? Ang sabi ng mga tao, if you want to unite at mga tao, that this is a rule in international relations. If you want to unite the country, declare war. If you want to divide the country, call for an election. So, alam ni BBM na very divisive ang elections because talaga magkakampihan tayo, going to have camp A and camp B and camp C, D, E, and G. And that's the nature of elections. It's a contest. So talaga magkakalaban tayo, magkakatunggali. Pero reminder lang, just because magkakalaban sa election doesn't mean kailangan maging magkaaway. So si BBM, he's all about unity and harmony. That's why minsan feeling ko may advantage si Inday. Si Inday alam niya kung kailan kailangan mag-strike. I don't mean that literally. Pero alam niya that there is also a time for unity. So I like the fact that she makes distinctions. Si BBM kasi because he has lived with so much attacks for so long, I understand that he wants relative peace. He wants peace. Let's all move forward. Let's all move together in one direction. So, understandable both stands. So, hindi ako naniniwala na si BBM is the type to retaliate for old wounds. Hindi ganon yung Marcoses. They have not been that way ever since they came back. Sabi ni Aris, may kahihinatnan ba ang reklamo ng FOCAP kay Attorney Larry on his remarks on rights of Actually, hindi po naghahain ng reklamo na meron silang panawagan. I think it was a manifestation. It was not a case filed with the Supreme Court or with the IBP. So basically, they were calling out Attorney Larry and saying that as a lawyer, he shouldn't talk that way. So, pagka naging kaso yan, then we can comment on its viability. Maytan Gabriel asks, do you have your senatorial list for 2022? Is Attorney Larry on your list? Yes, Attorney Larry is on my list. And sige, I'd like to take this opportunity to present him in a different light. With PRRD gun, aray, aray, sakit doon. Sorry. Okay. Attorney Larry is my number one now. Okay. I would like to tell you what he is like because as my co-host on Karambola and a friend, I see things that the public doesn't see. This person is one of the most helpful, bar none, person that I have ever seen. You come up to, I'm not the type of person who asks anybody for help or for favors. Kilala ako ng mga kaibigan ko that in many instances, sinisolo ko yung problema. And so it takes a lot out of me if I'm going to ask for something. But one, Attorney Larry is approachable. And two, pag kinuwento ko yung problema, he helps me with the solution. Actively helps. Hindi siya yung type ng politiko na magsasabing, sige, tulungan kita, tapos kakalimutan ka na niya pagka hindi ka niya hakarap. Of course, you can't ignore me, magka-co-host kami sa Karambola, but sanay din ako sa mga ganyan, yung mga taong magsasabi, sige, let's see what we can do, tapos wala na, nakalimutan ka na. Pero siya, I told him something, I told him my problem, and then a few days later, he calls me up and says, Attorney Trix, nakausap ko na si ganito kailangan mong gawin. So, most people see this person who yells BO. Most people see this person na ang angas, masasakit ang mga salita, although yeah, very hugely entertaining. And a lot of negative things are said about him. But for me, his ideas for the laws to be proposed, the laws that need to be re-examined and reviewed, he's on the money about that one. He can do the serious work that a senator is required to do. And pwede natin siyang asahan to call out certain senators if they're misbehaving. So this is the Attorney Larry Gadon that I know. While most people will know the entertaining one, I know the serious one. That's why he's number one for me. And I think that we should get those who don't understand him yet, those who only see that one side of him, really should get to know him and get to know what his platform is. Uh, Tinatanong ni Berich kung nakita ko yung video ni Mayor Sara ng What's in the Box Challenge. Ang cute niya. That was about 2 years ago. If you haven't seen, you have to. Sana may link, no? Pero sige, hanapin ko yan. What's in the Box Challenge. I think I've seen it some time ago, but I'm not sure. Babalikan ko na lang po. Kasi as you know, kala ko this week lang nangyari. Inisip ko tuloy. Ganun ba ako ganun ba ka out of it ako nung may sakit ako? Ay, nakita niya yung action figure niya. May na-spot ni Lowell yung action figure ni Larry. I try to keep it here talaga so that people will see it. Hi, this is my Larry Gadon action figure. Binigay po sa akin ng artist. Thank you very much. Naka-post yan sa Facebook ko. I think marami na silang ginagawa and there'll be enough to to sell in a month or two. Probably next month available na. Say hi to the Attorney Larry Dog. Gosh, again. Thank you for spotting that. Ito. Sabi ni Stanley, I agree it's time na palitan ng old politicians. Na wala naman nagawa sa mga Pilipino. We're only interested for their own pockets. Get them out of the Senate, especially Dillon and Hontiveros and the rest of the Quapos. John Castillo says, para sa mga kabilang parlor, Lindol at Baha sa Luzon, nasaan ang Pangulo? Lindol at Baha sa Visayas at Mindanao, nasaan ang internet? See the difference? O nga naman. Ito, sabi ni Joey Airoso, Attorney Gadon, take 6 sa bar exam sa FE Law School nung pumasa ang yabang na at palamura pa. Paano mananalo yan si Gadon? Pwede ba? Di naman nanalo yan. Well, if you go by the surveys, he's actually doing well. Like we said, he's within striking distance. But let's see what happens in the next few months. I don't know whether it is true or not how many times he took the bar. And by the way, hindi po yung bar sa FEU Law. So take 6 sa bar exam sa FEU Law School. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If he took the bar more than once, that's not, that's not, are you sure? I haven't heard him say anything about it. Uh, para sa, ay, sorry, ulit na po, Lem. Nakailang beses na ako. I just wanna express, sabi ni Cholo, oops, sorry, Cholo. Cholo ba yung pronunciation? Good evening. Oh my goodness, what am I doing? Just wanna express my disgust dun sa proposed bill for the non-expiration of franchise ng ilang senators. Yes, please keep doing so. And please, guys, if you can post it on your own or share yung ginawa namin tungkol dito, we really appreciate it. Para alam din ng mga senador natin, they do follow our pages and they do try to get a feel of what people are thinking. So, ay, kailangan na ipaalam natin sa mga ito that that this is going to be, bad for them. Sabi ni Erin, may kilig daw yung pagka-pro attorney lagi ka doon. Uy, sobra kayo. Hindi, talaga, kasi like I said, you know what, before, when Attorney Larry was new in Carambola, I was prepared not to like him. Totoo lang. Kasi hindi ako sanay eh. Hindi naman ako ganon. Diba? Plus, iba talaga yung styles namin. But once you get to know him, you'll realize what a helpful person he really is. So, at inaasahan din siya. 'Di ba, isipin mo, sa lahat naman ng tao, hinanap pa siya talaga ni Janet Napoles para i-reveal yung alam niya tungkol kay Senator Drilon. I think that says something. It also says something when other people rely on him and trust him with their cases, di ba? Thank you kay Ma'am Imelda Sangkalang for your super sticker. Ito sabi ni RJ Lovely, PRRD1 Simpulen, if you want to be, should you become the president? If you want, buy plenty of swimsuits and start to swim when the floods come. Your suggestive question is a poor man's argument. Hmm. What was he reacting to? Ito sabi ni Justin Myers, ang yabang namang nang nag-ask about attorney Gadon, yung nagtatanong ba lawyer o nag-take ng bar? I think it's also something like a comparison with Lenny Robredo. But I think that ako kasi I don't really care how many times you take the bar sa totoo lang because there are times talaga it's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. Mm. Yes, and if you're asking, I took it only once, all right? But there's no reason to think that other people are less intellectually endowed simply because they didn't pass the first time. So even when other people call out Lenny Robredo for not passing the bar once, if you do, you know, I will not question that, nor will I consider it something wrong. Ang ayoko lang is that she will make excuses for it. Nung sinabi niya dati, nung inamin niya dati that she didn't pass on the first take, ang sabi niya kasi she had children and, she had to take care of them and so on. I felt really, how do you call this? That she was making excuses because I had children too when I took the bar. In fact, I had 3 kids when I went to law school and I went to UP Law and I graduated on time and I took the bar only once and my kids were school age. If you ask some of my classmates, they would see us in the library. Ako, ay kasama yung dalawa kong anak, lahat kami nag-aaral sa library. So I don't want women to ever think that they have to make excuses. They shouldn't. Di ba? If you didn't pass, sige, do better next time. But don't make the excuse that you had to take care of your kids. We all did that. So the moment somebody stands up and says, "But I passed," even if I did exactly the same thing that we were doing. But let's not bring the kids into this. And also, what matters is how well you do after the bar also. And while we, syempre, ano naman din natin, we take cognizance of the people who do well in the bar exams. Diba? Congratulations. And yes, that's also an incredible feat. But it's not necessarily an insult for people to say that, oh, you didn't take the bar just once. Diba? Huwag naman po ganun. Sometimes it's really hard. Yan, sabi ni Ma'am Imelda, kidlat sila Rigaton doesn't mince words, he's not a hypocrite. Raul Desipeda, thank you very much for your super sticker. Elgin Jude says, hi, just joined the live. Don't know if this has been asked, but I saw an article reporting a petition for cancellation of Attorney Gadon's candidacy and disbarment due to foul words he's using on one of his interviews. I've read the comments and people just seem to see the outside of him. Personally, I prefer people who curse a lot since I believe they are smart and more true to themselves. Yes, hopefully I get to know Larry Gadon more and meet you both in person. Ladies, nah, just alright. Well, sige. Um, hindi po ground for petition for cancellation of candidacy or certificate of candidacy yung pagmumura. So, I don't think that's a basis. Oh my gosh. So, I think that if this was the FOCAP petition, it's not exactly a petition that's for na a legal petition. But it's actually something like a manifestation. So, hindi po kasi siya grounded. Sabi ni Berich, I can see you disagree with Senator Larry with his HIV remarks on Pinoy. Um, actually, myself, Boss Jonathan and Boss Conrad disagreed with his remarks. But yes, we did. We did disagree. But does that mean that I want him to, you know, to be disbarred for it? Of course not. For me, sometimes we will all make, in the heat of the moment, in the heat of emotion, sometimes we say things that could be regrettable. But I would like to, I think that while it was wrong, we were able to call him out for that one. Ang natawa nga lang ako doon is that, sabi ko nga kay Attorney Larry, ako yung pambansang napahamak because so there's some people who weren't, how do you call this, being really honest about it. They showed something like a video on Twitter making it appear that I was laughing uh, at certain remarks that Attorney Larry had made in the same episode where he made the HIV remarks. So, and they parang they blocked out yung mga objections ni Boss Jonat and Boss Conrad about it. So that wasn't very fair. Ito, sabi ni Jennifer Ichikawa, mas gusto kong na si Atty. Gadon kesa kay Chel Joke. No? And oh, by the way, with the HIV remarks, I did ask him, kasi when he made the statement that somebody is was supposedly suffering from it, I said, is that verified? So, if it's not, then, even at the time kasi, even the death wasn't yet verified or officially announced. Sabi ni B, Piloka pala, he met Teddy Te personally. Yes, he was a professor at the time that I was a student. How is he a professor? Just curious because he submitted a mediocre petition against PDF. I disagree that the petition is mediocre. Perhaps the arguments were overextended at best. But I would never describe Teddy Te as mediocre, whether as a lawyer or as a professor. Uh, I think that we tend to oversimplify things simply because we don't see their side of it, simply because we disagree with people is no reason to underestimate them. Never. One of the biggest mistakes you can ever make whether it is in court or in life, is to underestimate your enemies. So if you dismiss your enemies as stupid or something like that, you will not see what they are up to next. So no, I will not. He cannot be described as that. And no, I cannot say that the petition is mediocre. Possibly baseless, but mediocre no. I think that there is a strategy behind this. Kahit manipis, kasi alam mo, ang training namin kasi sa UB is this, challenge everything. Who says, just because the Supreme Court said one thing, doesn't mean that you cannot make them change their mind about the exact same thing later on. So, they're going to take this, kahit manipis lang yung argument, kahit kumbaga, this is a Hail Mary offense, then they will go with it. They will run with it because that's how you change things. That's how you change the law. So I think that we should appreciate also what they're doing. We don't have to agree. I disagree with their petition. I disagree that it has any legal basis whatsoever or a very little legal basis. I apologize for the imprecision. But I will never ever underestimate them. That would be wrong and dangerous. At sabi ni Stin Agbayani, ang alam ko hindi siya take to sa bar, si Sir Larry, tsaka magaling in fairness. Mas may sense pa siya at mas may alam sa batas kaysa kay Len. Well, yes, as a lawyer, he is not bad at all. Sabi ni Alex, yeah, correct. Failed the bar exam for the first time. Di ba si CM Recto failed sa first time pero siyang isang magaling na lawyer? That is correct. What is your opinion regarding the dynasty of some politicians? Ako, I disagree with dynasties. What I would like is to see more people uh, getting a chance at leadership. Kasi there's no monopoly of any family on leadership. But, and you know what, even if people say, bakit si Inday gusto mong tumakbo? Ganito yun. Inday is a very special case for me. She shines on her own. And for me, the Duterte name it only made her, kumbaga, popular, brought her to awareness. But her current popularity is growing beyond that of being simply associated to Rodrigo Duterte. So I don't agree with having dynasties. In fact, I want more people to have more opportunities to be leaders. Yeah. There's so many, there's so much talent out there. Sa totoo lang. So many people with great ideas. So many people who have the can-do attitude that we need as our leaders, but we're never going to discover them because there's some people who think that it's a monopoly of their families. So I don't believe in that. Even if, as I am friends with the Marcoses, even if as I believe in their capabilities or in the capabilities of Duterte's, I wish that there were greater and more opportunities for talent that's out there. Ma'am Karen says, pag nagsama-sama ba kaming mga pro-luminous netizens mag-ambag-ambag? Would you consider running as senator? We need your brains in the Senate. Sorry at ulit pa. May iwan si Ahmed sa Luminous. Silang dalawa ni JP. Sainthood, ma'am. Sainthood. Pwede tayo mag-ambag-ambag for sainthood. Ito, Ma'am Rosella Guesma says, failure should not be, a standard for intelligence. That is correct. Because you know how you become intelligent when you learn from your failures. Yeah, that's how we learn. It's like, scientists. When the experiment fails, it it when you have an experiment to test your hypothesis or to test your thesis and the experiment fails, in other words, it doesn't go the way you want it to go, then that is an opportunity to learn. That is it tells you okay, this method is wrong, let's try something else. So, you're right. I agree with that one. Hindi ako yung type na iisipin na will think any less of you simply because you didn't pass the bar in the first take. That wouldn't be fair. Uh, Meron ngang iba dyan, they fail the first take and then they top it. Well, not naman. No, they place in the top 10 after that. So, it's really not a gauge. And then there are people who land in the top 10 who can't make it in practice. So, iba-iba. I think it takes different kinds of intelligences kasi to become a good lawyer. So, some have the kind of intelligence that makes them top the bar, and then some who aren't very good with exams but are very good in actual practice. So, it's not a gauge. Ito, sabi ni Ma'am Emma, wag natin ibalik mga dating senador, Gadon, Marcoleta, wag na ito, dating senador na walang naitulong sa taong bayan. So, ang senators na Atty. Gadon and Sir, well, Atty. Marcoleta. Rostan says, you're true and correct for Inday Sara. Ron Chan says, not related, but if given the chance, try to watch the new Spider-Man No Way Home movie. So far the best of all Spider-Man movies ever made. Yeah, that means I have to start with, is that the first of a series or like already the third? Because if it's already the third, then I need to watch the other ones. I have to catch up. Sige, I will. Ito sabi ni Ating Misteriosa, how about PRRD's children being all active in politics kahit na po ba maganda yung pamamalakad ng dynasty family like Duterte? The reason they can all run is because we have no law against dynasty. So what they're doing is perfectly legal. Uh, but like I said, when a they have the advantage. They're going to win. Okay? They're going to win because their dad is like the greatest president the country ever had. Puon natin and all that. Yes, slightly sarcastic. But they get that opportunity, which means that there are other people who are deprived of that opportunity. And democracy is about making it available to as many people as possible, regardless sana of whose kid you are. I'm not saying that I don't like the Duterte family. I love them. I love them to pieces. I love, Kong Pulong greeted me on my birthday. Oh my God. Diba? And Ma'am Inday, binabati namin sa Karambola and all that. And oh my gosh, Baste. Why not? Uh, but as a matter of principle, when one family monopolizes it, it's like ABS-CBN. You only get that point. Whereas we can benefit from more. It's like hearing only a single opinion. It's the multiverse of opinions that are better for us. The more choices we have, the better it is for us. However, like I said, since it's not illegal, they can continue to do that and they can continue to benefit from that. But the anti-dynasty provision in the Constitution, I so agree with that. Because there are people out there na kaya nga never madi-develop ng ibang tao yung kakayahan nila tumakbo. Because they will not develop the resources. Once you in office, you get to acquire resources, whether that's legally or illegally, you get to acquire those resources to run again. And then to make sure that your family gets to run and so on. So that when you have all of those resources, there are people out there who will not have those resources. You know how much it takes to run supposedly for Senate? The amount that's not actually reported in the COMELEC, it's already running into the billions. Tell me, if an ordinary middle class person with smarts running out of his ears will be able to compete with a family that owns ₱1 billion, that has ₱1 billion. Dynasties will create monopolies. And I don't like monopolies. It's not fair. Sabi ni E.J. Badger, pag na-educate ang majority ng mga voters, pwedeng hindi mamayagpag ang political dynasty. Maybe. Maybe it might take a while. Or maybe we should try limiting the number of terms per family. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work yet. I haven't thought that through. But that's why I am opposed to dynasties. Yet I also know it's going to be very difficult to prevent them. Sabi ni Ian, waiting for Lenny's photo op sa baha with a look away post. Ew, scripted. Hope you're well now. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Ma'am Lucille Coyoca, maiba po ako. Barred po ba talaga Marcoses to enter the US at bakit po? Thank you. Wala po kasi ako makita online na sagot or news. Alright. They have a new law na that foreign corruption law where if you're a violator of human rights or supposedly corrupt, somebody can be barred from the US and your relatives there who own property, or if you have own property there, it can be confiscated by the government. I don't know if they're on the list or if anybody has proposed for them to be on that list. But if ever they would be, it would be due to that law. So, but you're right. I have not had any verification on that, but I can get back to you. If you ask me that question, siguro after about a week, I might have the answer for you. Sabi ni Chi, maglalapse po ba mga orders ni PRRD pag bumaba siya tulad ng paghinto sa paghuli ng pagdadala ng bala sa airport mandatory fuel contribution? No po. Since they are created by law, only a law will stop those things. Pero yung iba, yung like policies, it will also depend on the next president. Ito, paghinto ng pagpupuli ng nagdadala ng bala sa airport. Actually, what the president did there was that he spotted that a crime was being committed. And so he made sure to stop those employees who were committing those crimes. So, maaari bang bumalik ang laglag bala? Well, it depends. If the incoming authorities will still buy that, diba? Wala na, it's a thing of the past. It hasn't been done before, done again after that. Mandatory PhilHealth contribution is by law, the Universal Healthcare Act, so hindi po yan. It hasn't been repealed, and even with the change in presidency, hindi po yan matatanggal unless Congress and the Senate repeal it. Willem Garay says the problem with the current system is that it incentivizes popularity politics, leaving out strong party politics where competent ordinary people can be fielded by the party, both parties instead. Good point. Sabi ni Garcia Bergs, kay last two questions, smart talaga si Atty. Pete, samantalang si Beauty parang di ko pa napanood na magsalita ng diretsong English. I don't think straight English is also a basis for saying that a person is intelligent. May scratching sound sa background ng mic ko, sabi ni Sherry Salvador, that's the dog. So, okay na, no, not the dog. I think that's the cat. Ito, sabi ni Teacher Apple, na-inspire naman ako. Ibig sabihin, kahit medyo may edad lang, pwede na akong bumalik sa law school. Yes. Actually, that's the one professional school where age will not really matter. There's some people who have passed the bar at the age of over 70. So, yeah. Yeah, go for it. Sure. Ako, it was a choice between med school and law school, but if I would have gone to med school, I had to go take more subjects sa undergrad, and that would have delayed me further, and I needed to go straight to school because I needed to provide for my kids. So, yeah, but you can at any age. I was one of the oldest in my batch, not the oldest, but one of the oldest. And I had three school-age kids when I was going to law school. They warned me, nung pagkapasa kasi sa UP, may interview portion pa eh. Parang Miss Universe. Interview portion. So, they actually asked me, sa tingin mo, makakatapos ka? You, ano, you have kids and all that. I will make sure of it. Nobody believed that I could finish, but I did. I'm not the only married with kids person who has finished Filipino. Maraming ganon. But it's more about determination. And you really have to stop making excuses and never, ever, ever use your kids as an excuse. Sabi ni Joy, nahirap ba UP Lae? I didn't think so. You know how to prepare for that? If you're an avid reader, if you read a lot and have a wide vocabulary, and you know how to follow directions, then you will pass it. Kayang-kaya niyo yan. Sabi ni Cherry, may disturbing sound every word you say. It's loud, scratchy sound. Please fix your mic. Maybe insert the headset again. Actually, I think maybe it's time to say good night because we've been on for over an hour and almost an hour and a half. So, let's just take na lang two more questions. Kaya sabi ni Ma'am Jennifer, magaling na po ba kayo? Well, almost there, Ma'am. Ah, sabi ni Stay Kind, idol na idol talaga kita kasi ang talino mo talaga. 39 years old na ako pero nais ko pa rin matapos ang nursing ko. Age is just a number. Yes, go for it by all means. Sure, why not? Di ba? Yeah, I think you should. It will never go to waste. Education, learning, reading, and all of that. None of these things will ever go to waste. Even if you never practice, if you go back to school and get your degree, hindi po yan masasayang. It will always help no matter what. Uh, Sabi ni BJ, electric fan or sa hangin yung maingay na sound. Okay, so since the all right, thank you very much everybody for for this Saturday Sutil day, for a Sutil Saturday. And I think that we have the time to do a Sutil Sunday. Just let me know. I'll put the notice on Luminous and then tell me what topic you want. Make it a light topic. Huwag naman tayo masyadong serious because the serious topics we can deal with in Karambola. On the next day, may mga developments but I want everybody to remember this. The BBM Sara Unity team is all about unity. If you notice, hindi sila nakikipag-away. They're not engaging in negative publicity. They're not engaging in the bardagulan sort of politics, which is a difference from 2016. Laki ng difference from 2016. And and even when many of us get tempted, well, tayo, okay lang yan makipagwaldagulan tayo. Ganun talaga ang social media. But you notice that it could have been very tempting for them to exchange barbs with, let's say, at the time that Senator Bongo was still running or so on and with others. But they have resisted that. They have decided to set a certain tone to their campaign, which, which I think they will carry on to their administration. So we have to keep that in mind. Also, that this is going to be different. I think that this is going to be different. This will be more about harmony. There, President Duterte had to come in and start smashing heads because there were so many bad practices that were ingrained. He had made headway with that. Now, this new administration is going to be different. And so I hope that we're also ready for that. That it's not bad, huh? It's more like these people, especially BBM, has come from a place where there was always conflict. Na parati siyang binibira, parati siyang and his response to that is not to come out swinging, but to come out and say, look, why can't we work together? And so I think that that's something that we have to prepare for. So, good night. We'll see you tomorrow on Sutil Sunday. I hope you have, for those who are just like waking up, good morning. See you tomorrow.